Like if you allowed anxiety and limiting beliefs to hold you back and live a very small life, you would have missed out on all of that. And that's what I think is really sad. That's what I don't want people to experience. I want them to realize that they can accomplish so much more if they just get their mindset corrected and fixed. Welcome to another episode of the Mental Health Break podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Nafisa Sekandari. I have something exciting to share with you. Over the past several months, I've been developing a brand new 10-week coaching program designed to help women break free from chronic stress, anxiety, overwhelm, and emotional exhaustion by addressing the root causes and not just the symptoms. To celebrate the launch, I'm offering 5 scholarship opportunities for women who are ready to create meaningful change in their lives, but may need additional support to make the investment possible. If you've been struggling with anxiety, feeling stuck, and constantly overwhelmed, or finding yourself trapped in cycles of worry and stress, I invite you to schedule a free consultation call to see if you're a good fit for the program and whether you qualify for one of these scholarship opportunities. You can learn more and apply by visiting drsekandari.com. I would love the opportunity to support you on your journey towards greater peace, confidence, and emotional well-being. Today, I'll be speaking to Moza-Bella Tram, who is a TEDx speaker, entrepreneur, international speaker, and a business consultant. Let me briefly introduce her before I bring her on. Moza-Bella Tram is a founder, CEO, TEDx speaker, author, mentor, and business consultant. She's also a brand strategist, best-selling author and television producer, and host who helps accomplished founders become the most known name in their field. The architect of the brand before the brand, she teaches that visibility is not a tactic, but an identity decision and a truth she rebuilt her life to learn. Recognized on the TEDx stage, national television, and by the United Nations, she guides founders worldwide to claim their place as the face of their industry. Partnering with the billionaire Grant Cardone and the 10X movement in Vietnam, she brings valuable insights on achieving impactful success. Hi, Moza-Bella. I'm so excited to talk to you. Welcome to the show.
It's my honor to be here.
I'm excited to talk to you because a couple of weeks ago, you and I spent 2 days together and at this business retreat. And I thought I kind of knew a little bit about you, but after reading your bio, and I just shared a little bit about your bio just now, but oh my gosh, you've accomplished so much. And I'm so excited to learn a little bit about who you serve, how you got interested in doing what you're doing, and what made you decide to get into this field.
Yep. Well, first of all, right, I have to say it out of the gate, you have gorgeous hair. I love your hair, right? So I just realized that and I thought, it's beautiful. And yes, so we got together and it's so funny that, we go to business events often, right? I know that I do, I know you do the same, but there's some people you just feel that frequency and just click. And I feel, very positive, energy from you. And I'm so glad that we have the opportunity to get together. All right. So I got that out of my chest and out of the gate. So yes, I started this journey because my father was a very successful entrepreneur. He was a president and CEO of a great company. And he was a great leader, made a lot of impact. But he died 11 years ago. And I don't even have a trace of what he did for all the people and for the community. And as a daughter, I feel that pain in my heart because I wish I could see him when he was speaking in front of people, when he was working, when he stated his mission and his core values, and I didn't have that opportunity. And that's why I do what I do. So we have helped founders who are like parents, but they are founders and business owners to build their brand legacy, right? To be more visible out there and to be the leading voice of the industry. So that's what we do. We have a great team that I work with, a great team, and I'm very fortunate.
Well, wow, that's an amazing story. And thank you for the compliment, speaking from somebody that has super great, gorgeous hair yourself. So thank you. I remember you mentioning briefly, I think you said it in passing when we were talking a couple of weeks ago, that you started doing this by yourself. And I just want you to kind of walk me through, because I do work with a lot of high achieving women that are very driven, very motivated, and wanting to excel in their business, in their career, in their life. And so I think they would want to really hear about some of the ups and downs that you've gone through, the challenges of being an entrepreneur and starting this company. And what are some things that you've dealt with just on your journey so far?
Well, first of all, when I started, nobody believed that I could do it, right? So, think about when I came here, I'm an immigrant. I came to the US when I was 25, right? English was not my primary language. So people around me, they said that, Moza, you came here too late. You wouldn't be able to speak English fluently. And whatever my dream was, they thought that was insane. I wouldn't be able to achieve it. So the environment around me, they wanted for me to believe that just live like everybody else, meaning, go to work at a nail salon. It's not like anything wrong with it, working at a nail salon, but go work there and make money and be pregnant and have children, and that's it, have a small life. I know, in my core, that's not what I wanted. My parents sent me here to get my master's degree, which I did. I already got my bachelor degree in Vietnam. I came here, I got my master's in business administration, and my major was marketing. Right. So that was 25 years ago. Of course, marketing nowadays is very different, but that was their dream. They sent me here. They worked so hard. They sent me to the United States for two reasons, Nafisa. Number one is for better formal education. And number two is for human rights. And I believe that one of the most important human rights that we have is that we have the right to reach for our potential.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about our capacity. It's not about your ability. It's about your potential. Mm-hmm. And there's a book, The Other 90%, and I don't know, you may have heard that already. The Other 90%, according to that book and that author, most people operate only 10% of our potential.
Wow.
And the other 90% has been wasted, right? So one day I was in bed and I'm thinking, I was in a very dark state in my life. And I was thinking that if today is the last day of my life, or in a few years, shortly, we don't know when, it's going to be the last day of my life. And I was thinking that I never actually lived up to the 90% of my potential. That would be very sad. Right? Don't you think? So at that moment, I decided to, do more, right? To be more impactful. What is it? So I had to go back into my core and ask myself, what would make me feel more fulfilled? It's not about making more money. I already make money then with my, with my work, right? But what would make me feel more fulfilled in my heart? And trust me, it took me a while to try to figure it out, right? Because we are so programmed with all of the expectation from the society, from the people around us, right? So then I had to kind of, mute all the noise and thinking like, what is it that really important to me?
You found your purpose, it sounds like.
Yes, it took me a while.
Yeah.
But at least, for anybody that, in the same, I don't know if anybody out there that listening and you're still in that transition. So just use your heart instead of your brain, right? Because in your mind, you have a lot of pros and cons because that's how we train to do. So just mute that and just listen to your heart. What is it that you're so passionate about? What is it about that, like take a topic that you can talk about nonstop. You don't need to get paid and you feel so passionate about it. What is it that you're calling? Who do you choose to serve? We can help a lot of people, but we cannot help everybody. You need to choose a group of people that you want to serve. Right?
Yeah, I noticed that you're working with Grant Cardone in Vietnam. Is that what's motivating you to go help the people back home? Or you're from Vietnam, correct?
Yes, I was born in Vietnam. The thing with Grant Cardone was because I learned, a few years ago before Grant Cardone, I started my journey of, learning about self-development. I didn't know anything about that when I was in early years, right? So that I started to learn. I learned from a lot of people, Mary Morrissey, right? Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, like all of those people, John Maxwell. And then I came across Grant Cardone. And at that point, Grant had a bit like the program where you can register and certified. So you could be authorized to teach and to speak all of his materials. And I was thinking that everything that I have learned here from my life experience and from my profession, I would love to teach. I would love to share that to the people that don't have the opportunity to come here yet.
Yeah.
Right. And some people don't have the because of the language barrier, they're not going to be able to understand all of the materials. So I want to be the bridge. I want to be the guide. I want to be the person that delivers all of the information, the knowledge to them so they can better their lives. So that was my motivation.
That's amazing. Now, you said you didn't really know much about self-development, and a lot of us from from other countries, it's such a new concept, even in the United States, as far as like self-development. I know when I was a teenager, when I came here, I read a lot of self-help books because I was trying to understand my mental health. I was trying to understand why I was thinking the way I was thinking. And that's what led me to psychology and eventually becoming, a clinical psychologist. But that's how I was learning about myself. What made you, because I'm assuming in Vietnam, people are not always focused on self-development as much as they are here, right?
I'm not sure because I lived there when I was in my 20s, right? So think about it when when you were in college, even before that, like you had all the textbooks, right? So you had to learn all the textbooks. And then college, overwhelmed with all of the textbooks as well. That was not something that at least in my world, I did not have the chance to expose, to get that information, right? So I don't want to say that we don't have it. Maybe we did back then, but because of a lot of limiting beliefs, at least in my generation, we use our identity as a woman to be either a wife or a mother. And your role is to support your husband and your children, right? All the values that they would celebrate would be a woman who works hard, sacrifice yourself, be patient, and be supportive. You see, it's secondary role. It's not about, when I was young, I never heard about, okay, so what is it that you want and your passion, and you just go for it. Like nobody would tell me that. I said, no, that's not what you're supposed to do, right? And you're not supposed to talk about money. When you talk about money, that's greedy and that's not good. Mm-hmm. So it's a different environment. Yeah. I think, Vietnam has changed now because, after 2028, 2008. Right after 2008, then the internet started to introduce YouTube and other, international channels. So Vietnam was open to more information from all over the world, right? Yeah. Before that, it was a different. Like when I left Vietnam, it was quite a different world.
Yeah. It's the same story with us in Afghanistan. Right now, the girls are not getting any education. They don't have any opportunities. But a lot of the immigrants that are coming here, I'm so impressed with how quickly they try to find a job or a career. Like I knew this one woman, she came here and quickly became a hairdresser, rented her chair, learned how to do hair, makeup, eyelashes, all that stuff. I was like, wow, that's amazing. And that reminds me of meeting a couple of women from Vietnam who literally escaped the war and came here and then started doing nails and started developing businesses and becoming entrepreneurial. So there is that drive. It's just like, I know that culturally for us too, it's like your role is to be a wife and a mother. The girls are not necessarily taught how to be an entrepreneur. But I love seeing that drive in a lot of immigrants that we come here and we're hungry for change and we take advantage of the opportunities that are there for us. And it seems like you took advantage of it here too when you came here. were you determined to become an entrepreneur, or did you just started getting your master's and then it kind of fell into it? How did that happen?
Well, I did not think I was, I was taught to go to school and get a job, right? I never entrepreneurship would be risky, right? So people around me would not want me to follow that path. But the reason I did that was because I wanted my time to be more impactful. Like before this journey, I was a nurse. So I loved my job. I loved what I did. But I realized after a few years working at the hospitals and at the rehab centers and taking care of patients, I knew that I could only do it I could take care of one person at a time, right? And of course, we trade our time for money. So if I'm out of time, then I cannot make money, right? And if I work only 12 hours a day, and that would be maximum, like sometimes you stay until like 12 hours, like 15 hour shift, right? That's a long day. I'm exhausted. So then there's a limitation. And I'm thinking that that's not the way to scale. So how do you scale? Then I was looking into entrepreneurship, and that's how I started.
That's amazing. You're a nurse on top of everything else you've accomplished. That's incredible.
Well, so here's the thing. Being a nurse was, like two reasons, right? Number one, it was because of 2008. So if I did not pivot, then my job would be jeopardized, right?
Wow.
So I had to plan ahead so that I wouldn't want to be in the position, okay, there's no job for me. I was in corporate world back then. So I had to go back to school and get that degree because it, at that point it was more in demand, right? And the second reason is because I wanted to have that knowledge to take care of my parents when they get older, right? So I'm the oldest daughter. I have a younger sister, and I'm thinking that if something happened to my mom and dad, like if somebody needs to be able to understand the knowledge. One time, this is like years ago when my dad had a stroke. And I had to go to the hospital with him. And when the doctor explained to me, here I miss whatever, like, I was in my 20s back then, like, or early 30s. And you thought that you come back from the United States and you got your MBA degree, like you're all that smart. And I'm sitting in front of the doctor and I feel so stupid because I had no knowledge of whatever that he was trying to explain to me about my dad's condition. Right? So I'm like, I don't want to be in that position when they need me the most. So then I did, you know what? And I believe in God. I don't know if you do, but God put me in this position because the minute that I finished my training as a nurse, the very first patient that I took after graduation was my dad, because at that point he was diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Wow. That's incredible.
Yep.
And you're so motivated. Like not a lot of people would think about, well, I'm going to go learn how to be a nurse, just take care of my parents. Not everybody's that motivated. I'm so impressed by that. And I'm sad to hear that your dad passed away from cancer.
He passed away for cancer. And it was, there's a lot of grief, and I'm still healing from it because, of course you go back and you think that, okay, the only regret that I have up until this point is that I did not spend a lot of time with my dad. Think about it. I left the country, right? They sent me here when I was in my 20s. So for all those years, I didn't see him. So I went back home maybe, once a year to see him, but that's not enough, right? And he was a great leader. I learned a lot from my dad. He's a profound thinker,
It sounds like you've inherited some of that, and I'm sure he's very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So then, for yourself, right, from Afghanistan, that's the country that I've always heard about, on all of the news and PR and all of the public information, right? And I've never been there. And tell me, people can see it from different lenses and maybe some misinformation as well. So tell me if there's one thing that you would like to tell me about the country and about the people. What would that be?
Well, the people are very generous and very kind, very hospitable. And I think that's what people whenever somebody goes to Afghanistan, that's what they come back with. Like, there are very poor people there right now because the country's been in a war for 40 plus years. But yet you go to their house, they can barely have anything and they'll give you the shirt off their back. They'll still spread out whatever they have for you to eat and invite you to their house to be their guest. They're very kind. They're very generous. And it's just everything that you see is the result of 40 years of war. Like, there's a lot of lack of education. And now the girls are being deprived of having any opportunities. They can't go to school. They can't work outside the school. They can't even go to a park anymore. And so that's where, when you're talking about wanting to serve, my goal right now, I'm helping the refugees that have come here in 2021. When Biden pulled out, a lot of refugees came to the United States. So that's who I work with right now. But one day, eventually, I want to go back and give back to my own country, just kind of like what you're doing, because it's like your motherland, right? Like, no matter where you are, no matter how much you love living here and all the opportunities America provides, you're still attached to your homeland, right? To the country that you were born in, the country of your ancestors. And that's how I am. I'm still connected back home.
And you are right, as you're so right about giving back. I understand, like very often I feel that I'm so blessed. I remind myself that I'm so blessed that I'm here with all of the opportunities, right? So like the other day I was in a space, and I don't think that you never hear that before. Like, this just happened like last week or so. So I was in a place where Tom Cruise was there, right? And I did not have to come up to say, hi, my name is so-and-so. He came up to me and he introduced himself. You know what I mean? So my point is like, and I have been in the same room, in the same conversation with multimillionaires, with the people that are billionaires, people that not because of the money, it's because of the success and the impact that they have built in the world. And I'm thinking like a girl from Vietnam came here by herself, no parents, no directions, right? And the only reason why I could be who I am today is because of the opportunities that this country has given me. So I'm forever grateful, right? And now I'm thinking all the people that back there in Vietnam or in Afghanistan, they did not have the opportunity. They don't have the channel to come here legally, right? Then what can we do to help them? Right. So then we have to bring the knowledge and the opportunities. And I believe that the mindset is very important, because what stopped me before was my mindset, was my limiting belief. I did not know there's another world like beyond that. I didn't know that even existed. Right. So if you can open their mind and know that, okay, whatever that you dream, like your imagination, it can happen. And it's not just about, okay, you say that like a motivation. You say, okay, this can happen if you get the right information, and I will give you the right information. Or I can point it out to the right direction. So I think that is the power that we can at least do, Nafisa.
To be that guide to these people that don't have access to the information. You're right. And culturally, I think even in this country, we're brought up to believe that women can only reach the ceiling this level or can only go so far. But it's about teaching them that there is more than that. But you're not going to get that if you have limiting beliefs. And that's why I work with a lot of people that have anxiety and a lot of irrational thoughts and beliefs, the limiting beliefs, the imposter syndrome, the doubt, the anxiety that comes with it, right? And so just teaching them that that's not who you are, nor is that the end of it. You can definitely go beyond that. You can make that anxiety and that limiting belief, all of that work for you, and you can get around it and move beyond it. And so I think you and I are both talking about the same type of empowering women. I don't know if you work with men and women. I mostly work with women, but just empowering that mindset so that they can see more for themselves than they currently believe is possible.
Yes. So I work mostly with women. I mean, we have a team of people that work with men as well, but mostly we work with women. So now tell me, you're talking about anxiety, right? So according to like in your knowledge, what do you think the root cause or what does it stem from?
Oh, there's so many different reasons, but a lot of people are taught just to take medication and just numb that feeling or run away from the feeling or just not address it at the root like you're asking, because there is a root cause to problems, right? And once you understand the root cause, and it could be different for everybody. For you, it could be the limiting beliefs you picked up from your culture or your family or even your school back when you were in Vietnam. It could be your lifestyle. It could be hormonal issues, depending on what age you are. It could just literally be an iron deficiency for some people that makes their anxiety worse. They're not
Interesting. Interesting. I didn't know about that. That's something new. So when somebody know that they have anxiety, right? So they would come to you and then you would talk to them and you would just, guide them. What would you do to help them?
Well, I try to figure out what is their root cause, because like I said, everybody's is different. But I come at it from a holistic and integrative perspective where that I combine the mind and the body. This is why I really like Asian medicine, Chinese medicine, or Eastern philosophy about healing, and that our mind and our body are connected. And it's not like you can't just focus on one symptom and call it a day. So that's what I said. Like sometimes it could be a hormonal issue. So I ask people to get a blood test. It could be a dietary and nutritional deficiency. It could be irrational thoughts and beliefs. It could be poor habits that are getting in the way and you're constantly sabotaging yourself. Where you're wondering, like, if you don't get a good night's sleep the night before, have you noticed that you're more reactive the next day? You're not as sharp the next day. You're not thinking very clearly. So all of that makes a difference. And my goal is to just address anxiety from all those different angles to make sure that you're not driving with a flat tire. Basically, all the tires are inflated and you're ready to go.
Because we will go into different situations, right? Like for me, it's so easy for us to feel anxious, right? Because like if I enter something, a new room that I've never been in before, I feel anxious, right? I said, okay, anxiety kicks in. If I'm about to go on stage and speak, I feel that as well, right? Or if I'm gonna just say that, okay, I'm gonna invest in a lot of, a good chunk of money into something that I feel that as well. I hope that I make the right decision, right? So we have encountered that so many times in our lives. But then what you talked about with anxiety is that you would feel that without any trigger. Like you don't even know, right?
Well, the thing is, the majority of our reactions are subconscious. Like we're not even aware that this is happening because it's old programming. That's what I was saying, that a lot of us get programming that we're still functioning under, that we got picked up at the age of 5 or 7. And so if you have a limiting belief about money, if you have limiting beliefs about if you're good enough, if you're not smart enough, you're still operating under that programming from the age of 5 or 7 as an adult until you figure that out, until you realize, wait a minute, when I was a little kid, that made sense, but I'm an adult now, that no longer makes sense. So what I like to use is this little guy. He's so dirty, but this is anxiety basically. And he freaks out and it's him that freaks out. And we have to calm him and train him so that he can not freak out over every little thing. But another thing you mentioned was like public speaking or doing something that makes us nervous. One thing that has really, it's like a mantra for me is when I'm nervous, be of service. So for public speaking, for example, when you make the speech about yourself, you're going to be nervous. Like, are they looking at me? Are they making fun of me? Do I look okay? Am I sounding okay? They all probably hate me. If I'm saying all that stuff to me, watch me.
It's not gonna help.
This guy is saying all that stuff. It's not really me. But I'm making that about me. So then, I'm nervous. But if I say, no, this is about the audience and what I'm going to teach them, and this is important information, then it's like you become more confident because it's not about you anymore. Yeah. And you realize that everybody in that audience wants you to win and succeed, right? Like when I watch somebody on stage, I want them to do well. Yeah. But if I focus on being of service, like I have some patients that have social anxiety, for example, and they hate going to people's homes. They hate going to parties. And I'm like, okay, well, the best thing to do when you have social anxiety like that is to be of service. Go ask the host if they need any help. Go to the kitchen and see if there's anything you can do to set up. I know when I used to do that, that would make me instantly feel more comfortable in the home. And then I could like mingle and be okay. But if you're just walking in and you feel like everybody's staring at you, all of a sudden you're beginning to sweat. You start feeling like, oh my God, what am I doing here? So yeah, anxiety can definitely play mind tricks on you, but there are ways to overcome it. I'm not saying to cure it because anxiety plays a role. It's important. It's not an emotion that you want to get rid of. It serves a purpose, but we want to make it work for us instead of control us, because a lot of super successful women, and I'm assuming you're one of them, we were initially fueled by anxiety to accomplish, to get that A, to do a good job on that job, and to be detail oriented. So there's a lot of good things associated with anxiety. I just don't want to be fueled by that fear anymore. I want to use that fear as fuel so that I can get things done and feel more empowered doing so.
Right. So I think the knowledge, I don't know if do you have a group of people that you can, kind of have this kind of conversation on a regular basis so that people can have that kind of positive reinforcement, that it's okay and they feel supported? Do you have anything like that?
Well, I have my own community and I work individually with people, and my goal is to speak to organizations and to college students and share this message, because I feel like these are skills that can be learned and they're easily applicable in our lives, and we can empower ourselves and improve our lives. But that is my goal, to share this message more globally, because like you were saying, one-on-one, there's only so many people I can help, right?
That's right. That's right. And that's exactly why I'm thinking like that, because like what you say, and it's not just one day. They cannot just see you one day for 1 hour and then everything is going to be fixed, right? It has to be like a journey. And of course, it's not going to be forever, but at least you can just kind of hold their hands and just walk them for like a little while until they feel stronger, and then they can do it independently. I think it's very important if we can set up something like that. I don't know, maybe after this we can have that conversation. I think that will be wonderful for you to serve, people, women, men. You never know. Man needs more than just women.
Men have anxiety too. Yes.
Here, and this is the thing. The reason I said that is because, like women, I can just text you or call you up, or like women, we can share, right? It's our nature, right? And we can open up. Men, they can't. They can't just call a guy and talk about it. Hey, dude, I feel anxious today. They don't do that, right? And then, but women, we say, hey, let me talk to you. I don't feel good today. It's kind of weird, like, and then we can talk. So if you can have that open door, like we're going to create a safe space for people can come in, right? So they can talk about their feelings, and then you can give them the direction how to adjust their thoughts and therefore their behaviors, and that will help them with their decision making process.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people don't want to focus on the word anxiety, and I don't want to like label anybody necessarily. I just want to focus on the symptoms. If you recognize something is holding you back, and that's what happened to me in my 20s, I realized I was capable of so much more, but something was holding me back, and I didn't know what that was until later. And then once I put my finger on it, I was like, oh, wow, this is something that can easily be managed and understood. But even in my training, we were taught that this is a lifelong debilitating problem. Just throw medication at it. I realized you don't need medication to overcome.
Oh, bravo. Oh my God. That's so good. I don't believe in medication unless like if you diagnosed as a different, like differently, right? But oh my God, I'm so glad you talked about that. Yeah. I don't believe that medication is going to fix that.
But also think about it, like if medication was the solution, there are so many different types of anxiety medications and depression medications, but yet anxiety continues to be the number one disorder in the world.
It's number one. I thought depression, no?
Really? Because this is kind of the age of anxiety. Everything around us, from the social media to the news to everything's breaking news, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're all at the edge of our seats all the time. And I have so many of my patients lately telling me that the state of the world is really causing a lot of anxiety for them. They don't know. It's because anxiety is all about the fear of the future, right? It's about doubt. It's about not having certainty. And nothing in this world is certain. We're never going to get certainty, but it's a matter of calming ourselves enough to be able to respond appropriately instead of be reactive. So the image I use is like, do you know what Chicken Little is? Are you familiar with?
Yeah.
So,
Tell me.
there's a little bottle that falls out of the sky and he thinks the world is ending because he thinks that that's like the sky is falling. And so he's just running around freaking out that the sky is falling. And that's how we feel sometimes when we have anxiety. We feel like one little thing, the world is going to end. And really, it's not about, it's overreaction. We're being catastrophic about it. And we have to reel it all in. And these are all skills that we can easily learn once we have that awareness. And that's my goal, my passion, to help people.
So what I'm hearing is that if we just listen to the news and we just not even the news, get on social media and you just get drawn into, what's wrong today, what's bad news today, right? So then we will have that, the fear of the future. Yeah. And the disbelief and the disappointment in the present time. And that person may have chronic anxiety and they may not even know it.
And you're talking about potential, like limiting our potential. Imagine somebody living in that state all the time and not realizing that they can overcome that and actually go beyond their own feeling of their potential of what they're capable of. Because a lot of people, they hold themselves back and live a very small life because they're so afraid of getting outside that comfort zone. And growth is all the fun stuff is outside that comfort zone, right? Once we realize, oh my gosh, I didn't like for you to look back over the past 20 years and see how much you've accomplished. Your 20 yourself in your 20s would be shocked at how much you've accomplished, right?
Right.
Like if you allowed anxiety and limiting beliefs to hold you back and live a very small life, you would have missed out on all of that. And that's what I think is really sad. That's what I don't want people to experience. I want them to realize that they can accomplish so much more if they just get their mindset corrected and fixed.
Yep. I love this conversation. Remind me, you said that you don't have children, right?
I do. I have a daughter.
Oh, okay. So now is she with you or is she, okay, good. Yep. So now what is it about you? I'm sure that she looks up to you so much, right? So what is one thing about you? If I'm going to come and ask your daughter about, her mother, what would be the thing that she would tell me about you?
Well, the thing she always tells me is she's very proud of all that I've accomplished, considering that, all the stuff being just dealing with anxiety and overcoming that alone has been a huge accomplishment for me, but also constantly putting myself out there and going outside my comfort zone and speaking internationally and traveling and taking her traveling around the world. And so all of those things are things that she's looking at, but I don't want it to become so normal for her that she takes it for granted and not appreciate it. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's I want to give her everything, but I want her to be grateful for it. And I want myself to be grateful for it too, because it's so easy to reach a certain level and just assume that it's just expected, right? We should always just be grateful and humble about, wow, I can't believe I accomplished so much. Because have you heard of the gap issue, the gap theory, where we're always we're in the gap. We're not where we want to be exactly, but we forget how far we've come. Mm-hmm. And whenever we're in this state, it's easy to not be grateful. It's easy to be disappointed. But when you look back and you stop and say, oh my gosh, I've accomplished so much, we realize we're not where we want to be, because the goal always changes, right? We always want more and more and more. But we look back and we say, wow, we've accomplished so much. Have you experienced that yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad that you have your daughter here with you. And how old is she?
She's 21.
She's 21. She is so blessed. The people that I work with, because your story reminded me of why I do what I do. And I love doing this because your daughter is lucky that she has you and she can, she's old enough to see what you've been going through, and she see you here on stage and speaking and building your empire, right? Like, your dream, and you follow your mission. My clients, a lot of times when they started the business, their children were small, right? And then when they got older and then they went to school, they're too busy. Kids, they're busy, right? Then the 20s, they went to school and then they had to go, have their own lives and their marriage. And they never really get so much involved into what the parents do.
Yeah.
And then when they have grandchildren, and grandchildren is about like 7 or 8, they are already in their, my clients, just say that anybody, like the parents, the founders, they already become 60s. At that point, they're no longer traveling the world. They're no longer speaking on stage. They're no longer like the person that so powerful and so impactful when they were like 20 years ago. So
the
now
kids don't see it. Yeah.
Right. So I just spoke with one of the, like tremendous doctor, and she just retired. She's in 60, beautiful woman. And she said that, I spend time with my grandkids, and they know what I do, but they've never seen it. And now they missed the opportunity, right? So now that's why I want to kind of prevent it from happening. You're talking about taking the vitamins so you don't have to take Norco later, right? Because I want people to understand that this is important, right? Why building your brand is important. So there are 3 phases. I'm talking about, first of all, you have your brand identity, and then people are talking about brand awareness. But I'm building the brand legacy. Because if you have a legacy and if it's not documented, it will fade.
Yeah.
So now what we do is that, when business owners or founders, you are in your 40s and 50s, you like beautiful like you, and you do all of this. And if we have the system, and we do have the system, is the personalized branding full system. And we take you to, and it's the whole system that build you up and document it and turn all of those into IP, intellectual properties, right? And then later on, years later, your grandchildren can pull it out and say, okay, well, this is my grandma. It's not just from a picture, it's the whole system. And I think, that's why my heart, why I do this? Because I did not have a chance to do this for my dad. I didn't do this for my dad. I did not have this. And nobody else did it for me. So then I would have to build this for other people.
Wow. And you're right. And that when you're in the middle of it, your children might not necessarily appreciate or just take it for granted that this is what you do. But then it's the grandkids that are going to be inspired by how much you've accomplished. It just reminds me of like even Taylor Swift. Look at how huge she is, but yet it's her grandmother being on stage that inspired her, and she looks up to her. I'm sure her mom has accomplished a lot raising her and her brother, but it's her grandmother's legacy that's really inspiring her to this day. And we never know how we're going to impact or what kind of legacy or an impact we're going to leave. And this is why it's so important. Like you said, you're helping these people that are afraid to be visible. You want them to be visible and to be okay with it, and to get rid of those limiting beliefs and to stop living a small life. Because like if you didn't do what you did, you wouldn't have accomplished all that you accomplished. And that's what's so inspirational for me, is that you didn't have the role models. Like when we came to this country, we didn't have anybody to guide us either. It took me a lot longer than most people would to get my doctorate or accomplish the things that I've accomplished. And then having to overcome anxiety on top of that slowed me down. So we didn't have anybody to just fast track us, but you're trying to fast track people so that they don't waste time like you and I had to do, figuring it all out through trial and error and learning all the lessons along the way.
Yeah, and congratulations to you, right? You have done so much by yourself, and got a doctorate degree. That's a lot of work, and that's a lot of dedication and commitment, right? Because when you did it, you said, I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna just move forward, right? A lot of times when I put a lot of time and dedication into my education, countless times that I've heard people say, why do you do this? It's a waste of money, and you put a lot of money in, and then you're not going to be able to make money back, right? Blah, blah, blah. But I did it for myself. I wanted to obtain that knowledge, right? And I'm glad that I did. So I believe, Nafisa, that you're going to have to find a way to create that community so that people can come to you and find the right direction. Because think about it, the person who is feeling the anxiety and they do not get the right information from you, they will go and get the medication.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's it, right? So then it's your responsibility, my dear, to be out there and tell people that, you know what, there's an alternative.
Yeah.
And medication is a choice, and you can be better without it.
Yeah.
Like, if you can assume that responsibility, that's going to be, very impactful.
Thank you. That was really good. And I know you've accomplished even more by being an author, a best-selling author, and we've written 2 books, right? So want to talk about the books a little bit?
Yeah. So the books, one is what is it, that there was, somebody that, was a publisher, and it was a few years ago. And he invited me to be part of a group that is tell the stories, right? How we started, all female immigrants, and we came to the United States and how we did it. And to be honest with you, I had my story. But when I read all the women's story, I was thinking, oh my God, my story was like nothing. I was like, all the women, they are so incredible. So the reason I share this with you is that, honestly, if you meet somebody, right, and you have a conversation with somebody, you never know what they had to go through to be able to be where they are today, right? Somebody looks so humble, but that doesn't mean that they haven't accomplished, like, a lot to be where they are today. So it is a very humbling experience. The second book is about the luxury in you. And the message is about all the luxury, all the most valuable reason for you to feel proud of yourself is already in you, right? I wrote that book is a very simple book to read, and it's more like a journal. Because a few years ago, I saw there was a trend that people bought a lot of expensive signature clothing and the accessories so that they can feel more secure, right? And the simple, I believe that, and you may agree or not agree with me, but I don't believe that those going to be the shape of your identity. Your identity is shaped by the core value that you have inside of you. So if you believe that you have a set of core values, for me, integrity, growth, and impact, right? For me, it's all about leading with the heart and be the master of your true self, right? And be your best friend. So those are the core beliefs the core values that I live for myself, and I transfer to my work. Then those, to me, those should be the shape of the foundation and the core of your identity. It's not about like you wear all of the things. I appreciate the fine things in life, right? I love chandeliers, like you see. I have 3 of them in my house. I love it. I just appreciate craftsmanship. I appreciate art. But that should not be the reason why you work this hard, so that you can trade your dollars for the next thing that you're going to purchase. So those are the books that I got. I mean, it's not much, right? But thank you for asking.
But I agree about, like, a lot of people put a lot of faith into buying expensive things. That's going to define who they are, but that's not who we are. And I don't believe in advertising for people unnecessarily. So I'm not going to buy all these big brand names to make myself look better just to advertise for them. But I digress. But I wanted to ask you, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want your lasting legacy to be? What's your goal for that?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking that. To be honest, when I build this, I'm building other people's legacy, but I don't build my legacy. I don't have children, Vanessa. So when I die, nobody cares, right? It's not that I want to leave this for my next generation. When I die, and that will be it. But what I know that is important to me is that every day I live, I want it to be a meaningful day. And meaningful how can I make it more meaningful is when I can help more people. So today is the day that counts. Today we have this conversation, and I'm hoping that this conversation, if anybody can tune in and can listen, maybe just one thing that they can feel that they can take away with it, that would be meaningful to me. And that means I live a good day today. We never know if we're going to have tomorrow. I was in that, medical field for 10 years. I know that life is very fragile, right? So that's what I do. I just want to live every day the way that I want it to be. So I design my life and I live with a purpose. And my purpose is very clear and simple. And I know exactly what I do. So that's it. So I don't know how to answer that question, but I don't think it's gonna be a legacy. Oh, and by the way, Moza-Bella. So Moza is the mother of pearl. Did you know that? Did I tell that story? Okay. So real quick. So Moza is a mother of pearls. So she is an oyster. And somehow life introduces a piece of sand into her body. Although it's very painful, but she decided to embrace it and cultivated it and make it become something beautiful and uniquely herself. And that is the pearl, right? And you see, and you can only get the pearl when you open her up, and she has to give her life away so that the next person can inherit what she cultivated. And you see, it's so unique because every pearl is different shape and different color, but it's all beautiful and precious.
But it requires sacrifice and service.
Absolutely. And I believe that, I keep telling the younger generation, how can you live a fulfilled life, right? Success doesn't mean fulfilling, right? Fulfillment is different. Then live the way that you got to have a mission that is greater than yourself.
Yeah.
That is the only way for you to feel fulfilled in your heart.
Yeah. It just reminds me of my aunt who left here and went to Afghanistan for 10 years and built a school for disabled children and just helped a lot of people. She was like the one woman show for social work in Afghanistan, in the capital city of Kabul, and just got a bus and would go pick up all the disabled children and bring them in. They were blind, they were deaf, and she would teach them skills. They would sell their jewelry, they would sell the things that they made. And when she passed away, I truly believe it was the prayers of all those families that just made that day of her funeral just such a beautiful, peaceful, and I know that I don't know. You asked me if I believe in God. I do believe in God, and I believe in an afterlife, and I believe that all we can leave with us is our good deeds. And she left with a lot of good deeds in her bank account, and that's what made it all so beautiful. And I just remembered that her family was so proud of all the people that she helped over those years, sacrificing her comfort and safety, leaving here because she was living here the whole time in comfort and had everything she needed. But she sacrificed her time with her children, her family, to go over there and help those kids because she had that mission. She had that passion of helping other people. And it was just so beautiful. And what you just said reminded me of that.
Thank you. Well, thank you for sharing that. That is a beautiful story. And I'm hoping that you had like some pictures or videos from her, right? I hope you do. So that's great. Yeah. Can you, like I'm looking up to those people and I'm thinking that it's not just you have one day, right? You dedicated a decade to do that for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the motivation? Because you find joy, you find happiness from making other people happy.
Yeah. And nobody would touch these kids. These are the kids that people would like lock up in their houses, and because they were useless to the families, they couldn't make any money, but she wanted to reach them, and she helped the families and supported the families so they weren't abusive to these kids. And it was just she was one of my favorite people and such an inspiration. So I know that there are a lot of people that want to help and want to give, and it's not about the money. It's about, like you said, that sense of purpose that you're actually making an impact and leaving something behind, because we're all going to die and we're all going to leave by ourselves, right? And whether we have children or not, that's not necessarily the defining thing. It's just about what did you leave behind? What did you create? It's like even building a water fountain so people can benefit from that and drink from it. That's good deeds that are going to follow you. So anyway.
And you are right. Like a lot of people, like I believe that majority of us, we're very kind and we have a good heart. We want to help, right? But sometimes they don't know where to start. Like the people that wanted to, to build their, their brand or their legacy, because they said, okay, I believe in what I do. I have a message, I have a mission. I want people to know more about it, but then they don't know how. Then, then reach out. Right. I would like for them to, most of the time we already have the calling. We just don't know how to take the first step. So the first step is to get the right information.
Yeah. Invest in your education and reach out to people that can help you. That's right.
Yes, absolutely.
And you're one of those people that help people find their voice, find their brand, and move. Like they say, if you want to go faster, go with a master. And you are that guy that's helping people. And I think that's amazing.
Thank you.
So
it may be me, it may not be me, right? But then at least, I can point to the right direction. So, but you got to reach out. One of the things that I did not do, it was my mistake that cost me a lot, is that when I was younger, I thought that I could figure this all out by myself. I never reach out. I don't know if it's because of pride or shyness or whatever in me, right? Or afraid to be judged, or think that, okay, this is somebody else's responsibility. I'm not good enough to do this. Right. I don't want to draw a lot of attention into me, like all of those. So if you are out there and if you hear that in your head, like on your mind, in your ears, you know that I had that as well. Right. Yeah. But those are the easy way out so that you don't have to do it.
The first step is
all excuses. Those are all excuses, right? Just say, okay, no, I assume this responsibility. Just like, Nafisa just talked about her grandmother. Nobody asked her to do it. She just assumed that responsibility to take care of the kids, and that's it. And then she went.
Speaking of reaching out, that's what I wanted to ask you. If people want to reach out to you and learn more about what you do, where can they find you?
Right. It's just Moza-Bella. So Moza. Right. So, Moza, that's the story of the pearls, and dash Bella. Bella is a woman, right? It is a beautiful female, and there's a dash in between because there's a gap. So that's the bridge that if you come from here, and that is your destination. So Moza-Bella, and you guys can just, I would love to stay in touch. If you reach out to me on my social media, I'm the one that respond to you back, and I respond to all of the messages. So that part I do because I believe in connection. I believe in the space where I can connect with people.
And we talked about that too, because I'm the same way, and I don't want to just connect with people and never hear from them again. So I did like that about you as well.
Yeah. I remember you and I were like, okay, are we going to be on Instagram? I said, yes. I said, okay, so if I text you, are you going to be the person who answered or your assistant? I said, no, that's me, right?
Because I think it's so important, and it's like to be available and to help people. And if they need help, that we're here. And to not be shy about it. Just take the first step. It might not be either one of us that helps them, but we might be able to help them find the people that they need. So
absolutely, 100%.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. I love talking to you and learning more from you. So thank you so much for taking the time and being here with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow and subscribe to the Mental Health Break podcast. It would really help us get discovered by others if you do. And now you can text us directly and share your thoughts with us about this episode. Until next time.